Greetings, people of the internet. It is I, Shadow01, and today's video is actually going to be something a little bit different than all the other ones. Of course, you may be anticipating a little bit of a gameplay from Left 4 Dead with my brother and I, or you would think that as to the first episode of the first season of the Chronicles of Blue will come up. The first season will come up eventually, and I will try to get the project I wanted to put out. I put out a teaser picture inside the previous video. I'm going to try to get to work on that, considering the fact that I want to try to do something more than just movie making, and aka video editing whatsoever. But that's not the subject I have in mind of speaking about. I have something else that has me interested into doing this type of video whatsoever. There is a certain YouTuber that just is a problem towards the racing game community. Actually, he's not just a problem, he's a nuisance, to be honest. I actually did give this guy some criticism, although I feel like I should give more out towards him, since I feel like that's not going to be enough. And it's for these three important things: himself, his channel, and even his content, as far as I'm concerned. So say hello to this clowny ass YouTuber. Some of you might be wondering why I chose this guy. Well, there's a lot of things that could be expected towards him. Like, for instance, he's gonna want something, and it's not gonna be in the game, and he'll call it a bad game for not having a certain thing he wants. This being, of course, car customization in a racing game. With Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown coming out, he has been hyping up about this game for quite a while, until later he eventually decided to say this:
"It's gonna fail."
Let's hear it again.
"It's gonna fail."
Alright, we'll hear it one more time, this time in slow motion. Alright, I don't want to torture you guys any longer, so I'm gonna have to stop right there. I just gotta say this: how can a game somewhat similar to Forza Horizon series, yet not completely, but is still famous for its time while Atari was around, could possibly even fail? That's my question right there. Ilzibozane has decided to respond by saying this: ha ha ha, so you hyped it up and now you're saying it's gonna fail? Hilarious. And then this is what DDG had to say in response towards what Ilzibozane had said.
Ha ha ha, dude. I was hyped, but I started thinking, even though it might be a big map to explore, but what if there isn't any crashes, or damage models, or car customization? Car X Street is already about to release Car X Street, and it's looking so good. Like, it's literally Midnight Club, but Need for Speed Underground vibes, and Super Street, 100, 100, 100, but 10 times better.
I'm just gonna be honest, I don't know what this guy is thinking, but he has his own few points that he liked to put out there. But the majority of his points are kind of bad ones, to be honest. Alright, I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt, and this isn't even the part that I wanted to get to. I'm just gonna say that crashes, are you talking about video game crashes? Because if you are, how is certain people gonna be playing this game for a while if it keeps crashing? And as for car crashes though, it would be interesting to see, but this isn't Flat Out 2 or Flat Out or even Wreckfest as far as I'm concerned. Both crashes and damage models linked together as far as I know. And as for customization, it doesn't really need the game unless the game developers themselves are thinking about the idea of putting car customization into this game. It's their idea, so they'll do whatever they want to the game. They'll put body kits, they'll put rims, they'll put car modifications such as the engine, turbo, nitrous, suspension, tires whenever they want to. But really, they have never done this in the previous games, so I highly doubt that this is gonna be a feature added to the game. And as for every single racing game, not every single one of them needs modifications for you to play the game. You just play the game simply and enjoy it. You don't play it for the customization only. For instance, me playing Burnout Paradise, or playing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010, the original one. I do not want to play the remastered again. Even though those two games are linked together by Criterion and they do not have any customization of any kind whatsoever as to car body kits or engine upgrades, who cares? It's just a game. And I prefer to enjoy every single bit of it before I start moving on to the next one. And as for damage models, What is this supposed to be? Flat Out 2? I bet you haven't even played those games before, because I'm mentioning them right now. In all honesty, if you care about damaged models and crashes real badly, go play Flat Out, or go play Wreckfest. One of those two, or three. Whatever. It doesn't matter, just go play them if you care about the crashes in the game. And as for the developers of CarX Street, they're not called CarX Street. They're called CarX Technologies. Get your facts right. And even though if it's supposed to have like all the stuff from the previous racing games such as Need for Speed Underground or Underground 2 or Most Wanted 05 or The Carbon or Undercover or even Midnight Club 3 and Midnight Club LA, but to say the idea was from Super Street is kind of a bad call, considering the fact that the game development studio, CarX Technologies, got the idea from themselves, inspired by previous games, and even movies such as the original Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and Tokyo Drift. They themselves, CarX Technologies, had the idea themselves to make a free roam game. Even fans recommended this for quite a while. You may as well go ahead and keep saying that CarX Street was inspired by Super Street, but your accusation is kind of false. Actually, no. Correct that? It's really false. Mazda RX-8 S1 had said, because it doesn't need them, you idiot. Why do you test drive Unlimited Solar Crown as one of the hyped up games for a long time? Because it's been 10 years since TDU 2 came out, and it's a lot better game than what you made. I'm just gonna say this right now, Mazda, I don't really want to call that a game. I would call it a fan fiction that just gone horribly wrong. A fan fiction that I would say lacks a lot of stuff and has been rushed because DDG wants to rush it for some apparent reason. Which makes me come to a fine conclusion, DDG or Steven. You are EA themselves inside of this YouTube platform with your little fan fiction that you made. Lazily make a game for at least 20 minutes and just upload it to YouTube, and voila, the video game cutscenes are out. You have been awarded the golden trophy of being the laziest video editor for your game series. Yippee! All this fanfiction is anyways is just DDG recording him doing some gameplay on Grand Theft Auto 5 while using his microphone and driving around inside of Los Santos whatsoever. And the punchline is that he wants people to join his little fanfiction that really isn't fun and is just plain Grand Theft Auto from the looks of it as it is. Yet he begins to question some certain YouTubers. I think one of them was Jay, if I'm not mistaken. One of his friends at least saying, "Do you want another Midnight Club? This is what you're gonna get related to Midnight Club." I mean, what the fuck? If I want Midnight Club, I might as well play Midnight Club Los Angeles. That's much more better than playing your stupid little fan fiction. And that really isn't the end of it just yet. I've actually gone through his comment section on one of his live streams. One of his empty live streams, as far as I was concerned. I entered on one of his streams when I was on my way back home from Florida, and I was just commenting on his video whatsoever. And this is where the shit fest is about to begin.
That's better. I think that's way better.
What would be better is if you didn't try flapping your gums. For instance, like a dog that is looking out the window while in the car with some passengers.
This is so boring that I cannot even watch and open the road in the block and saying, ha 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 ha, very funny, bro.
Oh boy, I could already see that this is gonna be one of those days. Of course, I did comment it saying that this is so boring that even watching the open road back home is more entertaining, Lancer boy.
Yeah, you say this is boring? Well, you got me fucked up, bruh. This is probably the most entertaining fucking live stream you ever seen in your fucking life!
You pretty much say that this is supposed to be the most entertaining stream I've ever seen? Well, I hate to break it to you. It's fucking boring still. Because not once in any video nor live stream with you in it is ever fun, because what kind of content are you putting? You're not putting very much cool content that we find entertaining whatsoever. And even if you did, you would, as mentioned earlier, lazily do so.
Either your car is a 2007, it's a 2008, dude. I even fucking posted a fucking goddamn message or a freaking picture on my freaking community feed. It literally says on my fucking driver's certificate of fucking my fucking whatever the fuck you call that shit, my registration fucking slip. It says a 2008. 2008. So where's my $1,000 at?
I'm not giving you $1,000 even if I had that money, because I never said anything about competing against you between what your car is. And you saying that it's a 2008 when literally it's not an Evo. It's a Mitsubishi Lancer ES, an eco sedan, not an Evo. And you ask why you're the one being laughed at? Because you don't even learn, and your ignorance is too high that you won't even admit for at least one day that your car is a Lancer ES, an eco sedan. And as for a driver's certificate, it's more of either a driver's ID or a driver's license. But hey, I don't anticipate this guy to know everything whatsoever, because why should I?
Amateur and a fool!
$1,000, man. Says the sore loser who realizes beating people in race GTA. Hey, at least GTA has that fucking vibe of Midnight Club instead of fucking Need for Speed Heat.
Oh, so you was gonna pull out that card, comparing one game to another, made by the same company, but really isn't the same thing. That's kind of funny. You know, if I actually want to go through the old vibes of Midnight Club, I would pretty much play Midnight Club Los Angeles instead of playing Grand Theft Auto 5, because literally, Grand Theft Auto 5 is nothing comparable to Midnight Club whatsoever. And just because you say it's the exact same game because they're both made by the same company does not mean they are, by the gameplay, by the feel of it, by the sound of it, by every single aspect of it whatsoever between these two games. So honestly, you have a bad taste of comparing racing games whatsoever.
At least GTA has better physics than fucking Need for Speed Heat.
Just because Grand Theft Auto is a free roam RPG game, not specifically a racing one. You know what, I'm on the verge of guessing. I'm gonna assume that you never played Grand Theft Auto in your lifetime. You just focus on Need for Speed and Midnight Club whatsoever, that you forget about the idea of playing a single Grand Theft Auto game while you had a PS2 and a PS3 before you started getting PS4. And this was throughout the time when you yourself was growing up, just like I was. And to be honest, Grand Theft Auto is more enjoyable as far as I'm concerned than certain racing games. But what's more enjoyable is playing either Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, or even Chinatown Wars. More so than Grand Theft Auto 5.
It might not have realistic drifting physics at all, but fuck me, man, it has better handling models than fucking spinning out fucking models.
Drifting in Grand Theft Auto is highly irrelevant. As for the spinning out, it's meant to be the case to be good and realistic in a way, based on how Rockstar developed the game. The same could also apply to handling models as well. Rockstar Games has been creating Grand Theft Auto for 24 years. They keep getting better and better at every single new game they develop whatsoever. And yet some of them are legendary based on the gameplay, unlike Grand Theft Auto 5, of course, how Rockstar changed things up for this game in the online side of things.
This claim is still false. The claim is still not false. The false claim is that you're a false claim, alright? My claim is that it's the truth. My car is a Lancer. It's a Lancer, but it's also an Evo sedan. They wanted to call it an Evo sedan, but they didn't want to because people would flip the fuck out. Because look at what you're doing right now, you're flipping out all because I'm saying it's an Evo sedan.
Oh, I'm the false claim? We'll see about that, Junior. And I'm not flipping out. I'm coming out with the hard, cold truth. Mitsubishi has specifically named the Lancer the ES, short term for Eco Sedan, not Evo Sedan. So you should get your car facts right. So honestly, you can't keep that little petty lie all the time when I'm around, and I know the truth, just like some of the other people that are in your comment section. And you're saying I'm the false claim? Pfft, you don't even know your car, sonny boy.
That's what it's supposed to be called. It was supposed to be a low-powered Evo sedan, a family sedan, a four-door, front-wheel drive Evo sedan. There's just not fucking all-wheel drives. There's always can be fucking rear-wheel drive or fucking just front-wheel drive. Evos cannot just be stuck onto fucking just Evos of all-wheel drive. No.
Oh, how convenient. We drive an Evo with rear-wheel drive and we take it off-roading. But the issue is that our rear tires are not having enough power to get us up those hills. As for front-wheel drive, it's really hard to drive on these terrains. This has got to be one of the stupidest claims I've ever heard of. Saying an Evo is not only all-wheel drive, it has to be all-wheel drive. It's been in the rally series ever since the 90s, and ever since then the car was all-wheel drive, unlike the Lancer, which the Lancer was a front-wheel drive specifically, and only. You see, it's claims like these, and ideas that you have that makes you a complete, gullible idiot inside of the racing game community whatsoever. And not just that community, also the community of YouTube itself as well.
You can always make an Evo into something else. Using the Mitsubishi. You can make a fucking SUV into an Evo if you wanted to. You can make any car into a fucking Evo. Dude, a car is just a fucking car, dude. It's not the fucking world's greatest fucking car of all time. And it's not... The name doesn't represent the car. Or the engine.
Technically, you cannot 100% make a Mitsubishi Evolution from an all-wheel drive to a rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. This isn't Forza Horizon 4 or 3 or any Forza Horizon, you know. This is the real world. Also, modeling the body kits for an SUV to make it an Evo, I bet it would look completely ugly. And plus, it's going to require a lot of materials, tools, and a lot of experience when it comes to making body kits. And you're going to have to take a while just to make the body whatsoever. And you saying a car is just a car definitely proves that you're a non-car guy. But you want to know something? You're trying to say that you want to be a racer? You're trying to act like a car guy, but you're saying you're not a car guy. So I'm gonna dismiss all the facts of what you've been saying that you aren't a car guy and just specifically say this. You're a car guy, and you're the worst example of one whatsoever. As for the engine name, it's a little bit more different than the car. We don't call the name of the engine like as a V10 from a Dodge Viper. The Viper engine. And you saying the car's name doesn't represent the actual car? Well, I'll tell you what, you're definitely wrong on that one, bucko. Because I know full well that an Evo represents an all-wheel drive sporty variant of the Mitsubishi Lancer series. Meanwhile, a Mitsubishi Lancer ES just represents a family sedan of the sporty version of the car, which the sporty version was released 1 year or so after the normal variant.
Cause you try driving the engine. Like, get on top of the fucking legit. Get on top of the fucking engine and try to drive it.
I feel like this guy has been screwed up on a lot of drugs to think that you get on top of the engine and drive. And by his voice on this stream that he made whatsoever, it just sounds like he was really mad. Really. So that's probably entertaining to see, more likely. Anyways, there is 2 ways you could actually test out or drive the engine, as you call it. You want to know what they're called? Driving the car, or going to the engine testing room. You see, you got the game all wrong, DDG. The whole entire idea of an engine in order to drive is that it must have a drivetrain, a set of wheels, and a chassis in order to be driven. And yeah, you could really drive an engine. You wanna know how? Driving a car.
Since you think the fucking names the fucking engine for the car, you're retarded.
Well, at least this, quote, retard knows his cars pretty well. And as said before, calling an engine by a car name is not really the idea. It's the engine name that specifically goes for the engine. Now, the car name is something else. But you want to know something different about your Lancer than to the actual Evolution X? I'm sorry, like how the Evolution X is a much more better car than yours by how Mitsubishi built their engines. Yours, supposed to be 2008 Mitsubishi Lancer ES, comes out with a 2.0 liter MIV equipped inline 4, making 152 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. Sounds good, right? Well, that's not enough. And the engine also includes 146 pounds of torque that goes up to 4,250 RPM. You say the car is something else. You try to call it an Evo sedan when literally it's just an eco sedan that is just underpowered and it's literally front wheel drive. In all honesty, if it was an Evo sedan, tell me this: where's the vents? Where's the Recaro seats? Where are those sporty rims? Where's the all-wheel drive? Also, where's that inline 4 that pushes out 276 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 311 pounds of torque at 3,500 RPM? Explain to me that. Oh wait, I got a perfect answer for you. You don't have any of those stuff. That's what makes you drive a Lancer Eco Sedan, rather than an Evolution X. A less powerful and less sportier variant of the Evolution series whatsoever. At least that's what most of us know whatsoever, unlike your stupid, incompetent ass.
It's the body that fucking makes the car. Because how would you know what to fucking call it if you don't know what the fuck it looks like for the body?
I do know what to call the car, and even though it is supposed to look like an Evolution X, it is not one whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I have a good thing as to the similarities of your car. For example, your car is the exact same thing as this one, although it also functions like this. And let's be honest, the Honda Civic that's presented right there could do a lot more better than your Mitsubishi Eco Sedan. And you'd say, I don't know what to call it based on how the body looks like. I think the finger would go back pointing to you, saying you don't know what it looks like between the differences of each and every single car whatsoever. To be honest, when it comes to someone like this, their bread and butter is just high ignorance and more incompetence whatsoever. And I also want people to bear in mind that people like DDG, Steven over here, likes to do stupid shit. And I highly recommend, if you have a YouTube channel and if you're wanting to post content, don't do the stupid shit. Example number 1 is having high ignorance on pretty much anything whatsoever. Example 2 would be showboating. Showing off what you could do even though that no one gets a single fuck whatsoever. And number 3, don't edit the videos real quickly and just call it a day. Otherwise that'd be sloppy ass work you put out together whatsoever. But hey, everyone has their decisions, so I'm not even gonna go controlling everyone's decisions. Now am I? No, I'm gonna let the other people go ahead and deal with their own business while I deal with mine.
You guys gotta learn, bro. You guys gotta get your mind out of fucking asshole, I swear to God, bro. You guys gotta fucking loosen up and fucking stop believing in every fucking thing people say.
I'm loosening up on the real DDG, unlike you. Cause in all honesty, I do what I do most likely. Sometimes I make the videos, edit them specifically. Sometimes I play games, I do whatever. Just being a normal human fucking being. The only one that needs to loosen up is you. You wanna know why? You made 2 videos and they're days apart talking about your car towards the people that are writing down the comments, telling you the truth that your car is an Eco Sedan and not an Evolution. And you still cannot bear the false accusations as well. So that's one of the few perfect examples as to why you need to fucking loosen up. And not only that, it's you who needs to get your mind, your brain, your head away from thinking straight towards your ass. Oh, And I do want to mention, the reason why I've listened to what people say is because they're telling the cold hard truth. And you can't even bear that for at least a single second. You see, this is why people like you need to loosen up 24/7 at least once. And stop playing a game and then just go do something aside going to work every single day. And then come home, record some gameplay, then edit it and put it into a YouTube video. But here's what I know that won't make you loose up. Because I know for a fact, you're so ignorant that not even one day you could loosen up and decide to go back and argue with the same people. Like, that's kind of incompetent. It is just making you insecure in a way. Don't you know that? This is another reason why you're the laughing stock of YouTube, of the racing community, because you don't know for at least one single video to at least just move the fuck on. But instead of doing that, you just go straight towards sidetracking towards the previous videos. I mean, that makes perfectly sense, right? Oh, what the fuck. It doesn't help you, DDG. So stop even trying to sidetrack. Move on. Accept the truth at least one single day. It shouldn't kill you. And stop trying to hide behind those accusations. They ain't gonna help you any more longer.
Stop believing to every single fucking thing. Stop taking so many fucking things so fucking seriously every day. Fucking hell, man. Car guys take everything so fucking seriously, it's not even funny.
Well, at least certain car guys, or people that have interest in cars, actually know what they're thinking whatsoever, unlike you. And also pointing back, you're also the car guy as well, because you want to become a racer. And to be honest, I've seen other racer cars that look good, but that they are also absurd. But hey, they're more absurd than your car. Your car is just a poor excuse of being a racer car.
They literally think everything's fucking cringy, but they don't realize that they're fucking cringy too. Yeah, I said it. They don't realize that they're fucking cringy too.
Well, at least it isn't a surprise that he didn't say car simps for once inside of this video. All he ever does is just say them inside of his comments. And this is why the majority of people in the racing game community shows no respect to him whatsoever, because he's ignorant and has to go with the car guy's excuse of taking everything seriously. Well, let me say this, Mr. Car Guy that just calls himself a non-car guy. Car modifications and body kit styles are not the only things that are important. In fact, what is important is knowing your cars, their models, their makes, their names, everything like that, and then you'll get to the modifying process. But as for you, you don't know your cars. For example, in one of JK20's videos about his Discord server, he actually showed a picture, not specifically him, but I think it was one of his friends, a Subaru Impreza, and it doesn't look exactly like this. But you called it an old Evo. Like, what the fuck? You may seem a non-car guy, but you want to be a racer? That technically counts as being a car guy in a way.
Car guys are pretty fucking retarded, man. Because even though they talk a lot of shit about their car, like saying, oh, they know a lot about it, but yet they really fucking suck at racing, that's for sure.
To be honest, why they don't do the racing is specifically because they don't want to get into trouble. Unlike you for getting a speeding ticket. A god-forsaken speeding ticket. Street racing in the real world is always taken into consideration so that way people don't get in trouble as often. If anything, the majority would probably stick to drifting or just do drag racing as usual. And the majority of car guys actually take their cars in the day to a drag strip to actually do the racing, not in the middle of the road. While some do that, all of them don't do it. I'm just gonna go with the benefit of the doubt that you don't even know the law system of street racing. It's illegal, you get a ticket or you get arrested and taken to jail for quite a while. If you care so much about street racing in the real world, why don't you go do it yourself? Oh wait, I forgot. You made up an excuse before saying, it's a waste of gas, I'm not going to do some stupid street racing. just like you would say for a car meet. There are multiple reasons as to saying that you don't want to do any street racing, but yet you have to pick the most stupidest decision I've ever heard of. Have you heard of a thing called gas stations? Gas stations do exist wherever you are at, so refueling your car shouldn't be very much of a problem when you're done doing something other than just going to work and then going back home. Try, like, for example, you want to do some street racing, or go to a car meet, or go hang out with friends. In which case, I highly doubt that you had friends in your lifeline while you were growing up as it is. Or maybe you did, but they don't like what you're thinking so far, so they don't want to be your friend because of whatever your ideas are. Or that they have so much issues with you that later on they decided not to be your friend anymore. These are the only reasons I have whatsoever that I could think of with. If there's any more reasons, then go ahead and share them to me via the comment section.
Like, I don't know how many people are raised so far that are fucking tryhard baggies that drive the fucking stupid ass fucking
GTA 5 racing is the most horrible one I've seen, so I'm gonna do a favor and skip this part. I should mention, it's kind of funny when you see DDG mad, or I should say Steven. I'm just gonna stick with DDG for the rest of the video. This guy has been getting mad inside of his live stream over some people driving the Calico GTF inside of the game for the street races of the Import Tuners update. Keep in mind, the vehicle is supposed to represent the Toyota Celica GT4, well, at least as the car made by Rockstar, a Grand Theft Auto variant, which is sort of like the real thing, but not completely. It just sounds like, in my point of view, that this guy is extremely butthurt over the vehicle existing and is being used inside of the game for these races. Here's a perfect clip of that.
I bet he's driving a GTS. I bet he's driving a fucking GTS. Let's see what he's driving.
What's good, Nyaka?
Oh my fucking god, I was right. I was fucking right. I was fucking right. Holy fucking shit, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that he got mad at that certain point when he lost to a Calico GTF. It turns out that we have someone that doesn't need to deal with the case of anger management, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen because this guy doesn't like to do anything outside of his house. He gets mad over the smallest things that he becomes salty within his part of the gameplay in a way. Actually, here's the thing. Forget that he's hyped up, he's just toxic as hell. And I am inferring that from every single title of this video whatsoever, with all capitalizations and quite an extensive amount of exclamation marks. This goes to infer that he did not lose his childness, both in his attitude and in his style of clothing. And here's this. He calls us boomers. I bet the guy is dumb enough to know that he himself is also a boomer, since he's around his 20s. So in most cases, he's no different than any of us gamers out there that are past 18 or into our 20s or so on and so forth. But the worst thing about this guy is actually his fan fiction, which I'll get to in a moment.
And Super Street the game is a joke to me in the racing game. Nah, Super Street was fucking awesome as hell.
For you think it's a pretty cool game. For us though, we find it as a incomplete game and an utter mess of all things. All it is just dumped gameplay files into one game and it's called a day. Including the fact that driving a car with the shitty steering physics I've ever seen is like driving a World War II tank. And this is considering the fact that World War II, there wasn't very much technology. And this is where I assume Team 6 doesn't have very much of the technology nor the workers to make the game a really good game whatsoever. And the steering is not the issue only, it's also the braking. The braking is fake as hell. It's like driving on some thick ice in the middle of the snowstorm without any chained or spiked tires. That the tires, if you try to brake, they won't even just stop the car. We're kind of on the bandwagon that we don't trust this game studio with our money because they'll do another bad job but won't even bother fixing it as soon as they're done with the game whatsoever. No, they'll just abandon it and then work on a new one. There was a lot of people that joined in the bandwagon effect. And that includes me, because I watched a few videos based on how bad the game is. I've seen the steering. I've seen the fact that people have been braking, and the braking doesn't even really work out for this game. And even though if it's got crash physics and or models, I don't care. It looks good, but I really don't think it matters. And while customization is there, that's also irrelevant. There's been a lot of people in the bandwagon effect that don't like this game, yet you've gone against those people that have perfect reasons with your stupid reasons. You've gone as far as to making a video against people who don't like this game for some stupid reason. Like, you think that people are getting mad about the graphics. That's not the point. The point is the gameplay physics and mechanics. You even pushed it further by sending death threats to random people that don't like this game. Actually, no, not just the game, but your ideas as well. All the few things that you have been saying so far as to saying that the game deserves updates and that people should buy it, even saying that we're giving the money to the wrong developers. At least I know certain game studios, such as EA Games, Midway, even though that's a game company that just fell many years ago, Rockstar Games, all those companies that have been making games for quite a while, ever since the 90s, I give the money to them because they know what they're doing for their games. They're at least giving time to let the game studios that they have making a certain racing game of their own to actually work on the game physics and mechanics. Team 6 doesn't deserve the money nor the respect based on how they make their games. So the joke's on you. You're the #1 reason why people don't want to buy these kind of games after watching your videos. You're the laughingstock that you had the most tedious ideas to get people to support your game, even though it's a game that literally has not been worked at and people are not going to love it because how it was put out to be. Keep in mind for now times people that are out there and wanting to play racing games, do not go for this guy. This guy is an A-grade contrarian. He's a contrarian for Forza, the Horizon and Motorsport series. He's a contrarian for the Need for Speed after Need for Speed Heat, even though it still had potential. He's pretty much a contrarian to games that don't support street racing in a way.
That's why Super Street was so fucking cool that Car X Street got inspired by it.
Wrong. The game by CarX Technologies was inspired by themselves. Actually, no, the inspiration was originally from the Need for Speed and Midnight Club series, not Super Street. The development team had envisioned an idea as to making a game somewhat relatable as to this, having free roam, car customization, the car culture being involved inside of a game. And it wasn't just the studio that had the idea to do this. Some of the fans of the CarX Technologies fan page, for all the games that they made whatsoever, decided to recommend this. You saying that this game is inspired by Super Street is a bad example, buddy.
Imagine racing on GTA instead of Forza. Dude, Forza's freaking garbage, dude. Don't even freaking come to my fucking stream and talk about Forza, bro.
Okay, first things off. Forza? I'm sorry, dude, I don't speak idiotese. Second, you haven't even tried the game, so how can you say it sucks? Explain to me that. Of course, he's not going to have any points as to how it sucks whatsoever. We're looking at one of the biggest, famous racing games that exists out there, just like Need for Speed did. And it's coming up with a mass amount of car customization, a car list, and it's taking place in all the other places that isn't just the United States. And it has simulated gameplay, and you're saying that it sucks? Give me a break. If that's the case, Super Street sucks. How do you like that? It always sucks. It will forever suck. I would say to go far as to this. DDG has a PS4, and he's not going to go straight towards an Xbox because it costs a lot of money. I get the idea it costs a lot of money to get an Xbox, but the idea as to trying out Forza should always be recommended. Instead of just thinking straight out of your ass, and I told you this earlier in the video, DDG, you shouldn't do it. If you think the game is actually bad, you should try it for yourself to see if it really is bad. We think it's good. Everyone thinks that Forza Horizon and Motorsport series is good.
Hell, even I think it's good. Oh, but wait, I forgot, you're a fucking sore loser and rely on racing games that has terrible racing, so I shouldn't be surprised about that. No wonder why you don't have any friends in the racing game community. And not only that, but also on YouTube. Man, it'd be really embarrassing to play with you anyways because of how low-key triggered you could get real easily.
The customization's ass. The damage models are ass. They haven't improved that shit yet. Having non-balanced fucking cars are not fixed yet, so that's another fucking reason why it's ass. Just like fucking Need for Speed Heat is. Broken ass fucking cars in that game.
Hi, I'm DDG, and I think every single thing inside of a racing game such as Forza Horizon and Motorsport is complete ass, even though I didn't try the game for myself. Bad impression, I don't care. Anyways, the customization is quite decent. You could change your car's engine anytime, any place, as long as you're inside of a Horizon festival, that is. Engine swaps are also there, and transmissions, you could upgrade them or you could even swap them out. It doesn't really matter. Body customization is not really there as much for certain cars, but who cares? It's not like body customization is for appearance only. They do affect cars. And as for damage models, dude, go fucking play Wreckfest or Flatout. If you care about damage models so badly, why don't you play one of those two games instead of just playing Super Street and assume they've got the best crash physics of all time? In all honesty, Need for Speed, ever since Black Box made it before Undercover for the PC and a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, didn't have damage models that much. In fact, for most Wanted 05 and Carbon, there weren't damage models, there were damaged textures. And he says, we're killing the racing games community? We're the issue to it? I'm pointing the finger back to him as to him being the issue, not us. Because it's people like DDG that wants a certain thing but ain't gonna get it, and just instantly says that this is a bad game. Ironic thing is, he's actually a bad reviewer for video games.
Yeah, make the fucking fastest car, which is the fucking Porsche 911. Yeah, make the fastest car in the game.
To be on the clear note, the 911 series inside of Forza Horizon is not really the fastest car series of all time. I mean, it's not slow, but it's not like insanely fast that goes up to 270 miles per hour. For instance, Forza Horizon 4. The fastest cars are the McLaren F1, the 2016 911 GT3, which isn't an RSR of course, a Bugatti Chiron, the Mosler MT900S, and finally, the Ferrari 599XX Evolution. You know, I kind of find it funny how this guy has been a big racing games fan, but he doesn't like the games that are coming out now without the features he liked the most, such as the extensive amount of car customization and the crashing models and physics. And even though if I'm a gamer and this is the one thing gamers don't like, I'm specifically gonna throw this out to DDG. Dude, it's just a fucking video game. If the vehicles inside of the game don't have crash models, who cares? And even if vehicles inside of racing games got damage models, it's not like damage models are just for show. They have to be at least simulating the actual damage too. For instance, in Forza Motorsport and Horizon series, you're given a setting which you can change your damage. Not only you could use it for visuals, but you could also use it for simulation. The simulation based on how damaged your car is, whether it's tire wear, the engine, the transmission, everything that is in the car that's important whatsoever. Of course, you may say that the crash models look so bad that it makes you not want to play the game anymore. And if you care about damage models so badly, I'm gonna say this one more time. Either go play Flatout or go play Wreckfest, because those are the two games that actually do show the damage. Not only that, they also represent the actual damage whatsoever. Because let's face it, damage models in every single racing game doesn't really matter. You want to know why? Certain car companies that are licensing their vehicles towards a racing game, get this, any kind of racing game, are not letting the damage models go out to the max. That explains why Need for Speed Heat's damage models are not very much. But then again, damage models don't really matter unless you actually simulate the damage towards that vehicle. And of course, Team 6 takes their damage models to the max on the cars, but it's not like they actually simulate the damage, unlike Wreckfest or Flatout as mentioned. Hey, maybe I could mention this over and over again. You want damage models? Go play these games. Quit crying like a bitch about these features not being inside of the games that you specifically are hyping up. Go on the PlayStation 4 and try another racing game that isn't specifically about street racing. Because let's be honest, the street racing genre of Need for Speed had died out after Undercover. And the street racing genre of Midnight Club, well, the game series alone, had died out after Los Angeles. And it's not like the game companies or studios are going to reflect back into that kind of stuff, nor is new studios that are coming up to developing games that are possibly even indie developers are going to do a very good job. They may try, but it's going to take a long while to do so. Although I do give credit where it's due for how long these indie developers make their games, specifically racing games. They'll do pretty well on making the gameplay physics and mechanics, and they'll work on the graphics here and there. But I cannot say the same for Team 6 after what they pulled out Super Street the game. Instead of delaying the game here and there to fix minor bugs and issues whatsoever as to the gameplay physics and mechanics, they decided to rush the whole entire goddamn game. And it's just, what, a lot of money? Possibly like $50? But then the prices were decreasing from time to time again. I find it funny that you support a game that was just low-key developed real quickly, like in one day, and is just rushed out to be published on the next day. And this DDG, and the ladies and gentlemen watching this video, is exactly why we don't like Team 6. All they ever do is just make their games and rush them through to get to that specific date before release, and not even take a moment to delay it just to do some minor fixes. When we first saw the trailer, it was supposed to be something interesting, something new, something big that was supposed to come up within the racing community. The hype was up there, but when the game got released, look what happened. We got YouTubers recording how bad the gameplay is, based on the steering, the braking, and how you're limited to driving one car only in the beginning of the game before it got updates. My seldom issue is that Team 6 puts out a cost of this game up to $50. It doesn't even deserve to be the cost of $50. You wanna know what it deserves to cost? Like a fucking mobile game, just for free.
Because it really is. And the best handling car in the game too as well. Because I've seen that fucking car handle, and it handles like a fucking glitch ass motherfucker. And don't give me that bullshit saying, oh, you're just mad because I beat you. Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Since you're bringing the discussion onto the Need for Speed side of things, let me just say this. Well, yes, the RSR is the most powerful car that ever exists, but then could get overthrown by an evolution. I personally don't need the car itself to go race against you whatsoever. In fact, I have a vast majority of cars that are, most of them, highly modified and ready for racing, but I don't have an RSR. I'd be happy enough to race against you in any of cars, such as the McLaren F1 for an example, or even the Volvo Amazon P130. I'll be happy enough to take you on with any of those cars. But at high chances, you're probably gonna say, oh, but I don't wanna race you on Need for Speed. I'm gonna race you on another game. I'm gonna race you on Grand Theft Auto, or I'm gonna race you on Super Street the game. And possibly even getting mad about this and just calling out someone for not racing in your favorite game whatsoever due to multiple truths and facts about the games having shitty racing. I'm not gonna race against a butthurt sore loser like you. In fact, you're toxic enough inside of the gaming community that it just becomes a joke. And yet, when you have certain things that you talk about on your plate to prove that you're actually successful, you fucking fail to be successful in multiple ways inside of the racing game community. And your ignorance caused you to be so successful at being a complete utter idiot and a sore loser, as well as a lazy ass YouTuber who doesn't make videos for quite a while, unlike I do.
now at times. And I'm just barely getting started on making videos.
And here's my question. When will you guys realize that I'm not a fucking car guy?
You may seem to act like a non-car guy, but you want to know something? In some certain ways, racers are also technically known as car guys, since they are pimping out their car's body kits. Not only that, they're customizing the interiors of the car. So at a technical rate, you also count as a car guy. Some of the people in the car community say otherwise, that this is not to be the case. I'm just gonna say this right now. They like cars. They like to modify the cars just like we do. The only difference they have between the tuners is how they should make their cars. Instead of working on the performance, they're gonna work on the body kits and paint jobs and vinyls and stuff like that. And thus me quoting this: racers and tuners, they both like cars, they like to modify the cars, they like to drive the cars, they even like to present their cars as well. Anyways, back to the discussion. Since you want to be a racer, you're technically known as a car guy. But the twist to this truth of you being a car guy is that you actually do a very shitty job at racing your car. And thus leads me to the great conclusion of calling you a very shitty car guy.
A racer is automatically a fucking racer when they put a freaking hood scoop on that's not an air vent. I mean, my roof scoops are air vents. I can easily just drill a hole in the fucking hood and then boom, there's a fucking air vent. Boom, bang. There's some air going through the fucking engine, going out the vent. But it's called a universal. Universal. That means it doesn't mean it's fucking fake. It's real, because you can actually touch it. It's not fucking a piece of paper with a fucking hood scoop on the fucking piece of paper, right?
It's not fake by look, but it's fake by function, considering the fact that I highly doubt any air went through to the engine with that scoop. In fact, that kind of hood scoop's really fake, considering the fact how it's just carbon fiber. They have that shit on sale all the way over at AutoZone. I could definitely tell for sure. You didn't only buy just one, but you also bought two at the same time. One for the hood and one for the roof. And even though if it's looking decent on the hood, it just looks way too fucking ugly on the roof. I'm gonna be honest with you. But if you're trying to become an extreme racer, where's the body kits? Where's the custom interior? Where's the speakers in the trunk? I mean, that's an optional choice. Where's the extreme custom rims? Where's the spoilers? The paint job, the neons, all that stuff that racers use. Oh yeah, I forgot. You don't have any of this stuff. And money may seem the issue, but really what's causing you to not actually get the rest of the parts is how fucking lazy you are at doing almost anything that is outside of your house. In fact, you're so lazy, not only that you can't get yourself some modifications to make your car a little bit more racier, you couldn't even go far as to get a girlfriend. This guy, DDG, is literally one of the laziest YouTubers I've ever seen. He's like Mr. Boss for the win. Except he's inside of the car racing community, and he's always toxic as shit. He acts like a 6-year-old, and technically, since he's supposed to be racer, he's declared as a car guy. He is the worst car guy I've ever seen whatsoever. And overall, he's butthurt about every single little thing. As to racing games, not having his favorite features, and go as far as to calling his car the Evolution Sedan, which I find highly above to be irrelevant to the case, which is the car is the Eco Sedan, a less powerful and front-wheel drive automatic variant of the Evolution X. And you think Black Panther is that mad with street racing games about Need for Speed and stuff like that? This guy is utterly the worst. I wanted to find a good way to end this off, and what better way to end it with a little conclusion. And I still have a few things to say as to myself about this kind of YouTuber whatsoever. And what has been coming up on my mind lately is because I still got a lot of content that DDG has over his stream, and I'm just thinking to myself, should I do more of it? Honestly, I don't. I'm getting sick and tired of talking about this incompetent being that couldn't even stand up for himself. This man's on his 20s and he's acting like a fucking 6-year-old. He doesn't know shit in the outside world, such as cars as an example, and how to race a car. And in all honesty, His ignorance is what caused him to become an utter idiot inside of the society of YouTube and the racing game community. At least that's parts of the conclusions I have that are based on my opinion. Now it's time to get to the criticism part. Yep, it's gonna be fun, ain't it? Oh, and by the way, DDG, if you're watching this video and made it up to here, you should listen in as to the criticism I'm gonna put out to you. Don't take this as a fucking personal attack, you little bitch. You might as well take criticism real well and learn from your mistakes. First thing is Midnight Shit Club 5. This is basically just fucking Grand Theft Auto 5. And the racing in Grand Theft Auto 5 is complete utter dog shit. And the little game you made is just basically the icing of Grand Theft Auto 5 that tells us it's being served as a ready ruin and is rotting even more than right now. Yeah, your little fanfiction is rotting GTA 5 even more than it already has been. And this is on the side of car guys playing GTA 5. It's not very common, but it is something. People like them don't like the idea of your little fanfiction that you have whatsoever, and encouraging to join in is really a bad call as well, considering the fact that they could make the decision and won't join your little fanfiction. You know what you could do? You could make it better by putting more effort on working on that game, such as the cutscenes. Oh, and when I mean game, I mean your little YouTube video that you made. At least make it a GTA Machinima related video. That makes it more better in a way. You should at least also put in more characters into this little fanfiction that you made whatsoever as well. Otherwise, you shove your fanfiction and those little lies about your fanfiction back into your mouth and shut the fuck up. And keep your mouth shut about that fanfiction if you haven't even changed anything at all. Another thing, do some brainstorming. And even though you hate doing this, DDG, brainstorming is the best way that you're going to be able to communicate with other people that are on the YouTube platform, as far as I'm concerned. Don't go putting your head into your ass and start speaking and cursing at the same time while making a video. That doesn't really help you at all, other than just give you more and more dislikes. Because let's be real, you sound like an adult version of a first grader in elementary school who has no fucking idea on what he's saying and sounds like a complete idiot 24 hours, 7 days, 4 weeks, 12 months, and 1 year every time you make a video. Also, another thing, you want to prove that you are up to the fucking plate? Stop being incompetent and a sore loser and relying on Grand Theft Auto 5 or Super Street the game to win against other players. And don't go comparing Super Street to Need for Speed, because in all honesty and gameplay wise, Super Street is nothing comparable to fucking Need for Speed when Black Box was making the Need for Speed series. And death threats. If you send a single death threat to something that you like that other people don't like, that's just more disrespect that people are giving towards you. And if you want people to care, give you some certain respect, stop sending fucking death threats to them. It doesn't help you. And honestly, if you're gonna be going to this video and just call me out for some stupid reason, just
stop it. Get some help.
In all honesty, I feel like I don't think there's gonna be a chance that DDG is ever gonna learn after this video. Hopefully he does. I just highly doubt that he ever will, because he's himself an ignorant, idiotic fuck that doesn't learn a goddamn thing and acts like an utter child when he's a fucking boomer just like the rest of us. But anyways, if you got to the end of it, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I don't really enjoy it as much as it sometimes is giving me headaches every single day I try editing this video just for this sack of shit that doesn't learn a goddamn thing. And that I've learned a new language that this guy speaks, which goes in the name of Idiotese. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give this video a like, a comment, and a subscribe. And this is the part where I'm gonna go ahead and say, I'll see you in the next episode. See ya.